Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Colton, and today's video is really a goal check-in for the year. I usually like to do these around kind of the 6-month or half-year mark, really to give myself a chance to take a step back and look at where I'm at progress-wise on the goals that I set for myself in the year. And that usually gives me some good insight into what is left to do and maybe kind of map out how I'm gonna do those things, and also kind of motivates me a little bit. So I wanna go through the goals that I listed out at the beginning of the year in a video, and I'll put a link to that video in the description if you wanna watch that, but I'll also cover all of the same things I talked about in that video in this one. And one of those goals does have an announcement attached to it that I'll mention when we get to that part of the video. Yeah, hopefully the other benefit here being that maybe if you have creative goals for the year, or if there are things that you're working on creatively, this can kind of help give you an opportunity to take a step back and think about where you're at and maybe inspire you to gain some motivation and continue to work on your projects. And to that point, if you want to further motivate yourself and further kind of put your own self out there too, you can put your goals and your progress in the comments below. That also equally kind of like loops back to me. It makes me feel more motivated because I get to see what other people are working on and what kind of progress they've made. So we can kind of hold each other accountable and motivate each other. So if you feel comfortable, feel free to drop those in the comments below. But my first goal for this year was to create a photo book or a photo zine. This is something that I wanted to do in 2023, but any long-term viewer of this channel knows that in 2023, I gave myself way too many goals to do. And so I basically didn't complete any of them. And so when I went to do my goals for 2024, I took a step back and said, okay, I think I'm gonna just pick a few and make it more manageable to do, and maybe just pick the ones I wanna do the most. And the photo book is definitely one that I've been really wanting to do for a while now. So in terms of progress, number one, the biggest thing that held me back last year was that I just didn't have a series that had enough images for a photo book. I really wanted to have way more photos than would actually go into a book so that I could be picky about which ones went in. And I had multiple different series that I was doing, but none of them were far enough along to really justify a book at that point. And so what I did was I basically picked one series to hyper focus on this year, and that's been the Candy Art series. And because I've only been working on that series, I have produced a ton of images, and many of them are ones that I would consider keepers. And so I now have built up enough body of work that I can be picky about what goes into a zine. So that was the first thing. That's pretty much done, although obviously I'm going to continue to shoot that series for the rest of this year. So I will only have more options as the year goes on. But that was a big one. I did do research into what kind of printers are out there, and I've selected the printer that I'm going to go with. I've selected the paper size, the layout, the binding, all of that has been more or less picked. And I started to design the book and how the images would lay out. And I realized very quickly, I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing with photography, and I know what my vision is for the photo zine. It is going to be a zine, a little bit smaller. But I'm not a graphic designer. And so I figured I will go through the process of finding a graphic designer that has a similar style to what I'm looking for, get some pricing, and then just ultimately pick someone who matches well with what I want out of the book, maybe see some past work that they've done, whatever it may be, and lean on their expertise in this regard. Because what I would hate is I don't know anything about margins. I don't know anything about bleeds. I'd hate to put all this work and money into a book, get it back, and then the images are laid out really weird and they're cut off. And, it's just better if I lean on someone who actually knows what they're doing. And to that point, I also mentioned, kind of the difference between book and zine. I don't know if there's actually a difference, but in my mind, a book has more images than a zine. And a zine is maybe more lightweight, kind of proof of concept, something like that. So I'm going to go with a zine in this first one. If there's enough interest, there's enough images, and there's enough reason, maybe I'll do a larger book down the road. But we're kicking off with a zine just to get that under our belt. So I feel good about the progress that I'm at on that. You know, we know who's going to print it. We know more or less what we're doing. We have enough images to fill it. And now we're just picking the person who's going to basically build the digital file of how that layout should look. Once we get that, send it off to the printer, get the books. So I think we're getting kind of towards the end, maybe the most fun part of it, but towards the end of that particular goal. And that's important because I need these zines for goal 2. And goal 2 is getting into a physical space. This is, again, something that I wanted to do in 2023, and I just never could settle on what images I wanted to do and how I wanted to print them or frame them, and so I just never really did it. And in 2024, that became like a huge goal of mine, like really submitting to galleries in the hopes that like, surely I'll get into something. And I maybe cut myself a little too short or lowered my expectations, because I did get into a gallery, and that is my big announcement for this video. More formally, I talked about it on Instagram and in the test live stream, but officially announcing that I did get into a gallery for the first quarter of 2025. So I still have a little bit of time to prepare for it, but I am over the moon excited. I'm also scared. I'm also, just ecstatic. Like, I'm all the different feelings. But this is really exciting. If you're in the Austin area, it's going to be at the Doherty Art Center in the East Gallery. And I will post more information about, the reception and when the gallery is going to run as it gets a little closer to it. If you do want to stay in the know about all that, follow me on Instagram, because that's where I'm going to promote it the most heavily. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm doing all the framing now. I'm getting press releases ready. I'm kind of figuring out which images are going to go in it, how they're going to get framed. All the different things that go into a gallery. And, it's stressful. It is, it's hard to know what you don't know, but it's also super exciting, and it's challenging, and I'm learning a lot. And it's just going to set me up for success in the future when I submit to other galleries as well. So this is one that I would kind of check off and say, like, yeah, I did it. I got into a gallery, which is exciting. But obviously, with that completion comes a whole lot more work to get ready and actually do the gallery. And to some extent, you're also never done with this one, really, because you're always going to want to get into another gallery and another thing. So it'll probably be something that I'll continue to do and look for opportunities to submit to other things as well. But very excited to have accomplished that. And then that also kind of fits with the photo zine, because I do want to have the zine on site for the reception. I will be selling the artwork that I have framed. I'm going to actually be doing a lot of the framing myself, but a few pieces I'm going to also go through a local framer for. And those will be for sale, but not everyone wants to buy a whole framed image. And so I'll have the zine on site for anyone who still wants to support me or who still wants to have copies of some of my work. They can get a much more small, manageable zine that they can put on their shelf instead of an entire framed image. And I know a few people have also expressed interest in getting a copy of a zine if I were to produce one here on YouTube. So as we get that done, I'll start to think about what the best vehicle is for me to be able to get those zines to you all. So stay tuned for that as well. And then the final goal of 2024 that I outlined is also the most vague goal, and it was to grow this channel. Now, I know most YouTubers mean grow it in terms of subscribers, and that's maybe part of it. Like, sure, it'd be nice to have even more people that are a part of this community. But I think really what I was talking about is more grow it in terms of what I'm doing, the kinds of videos that I'm putting out, the kinds of content, the challenge that I'm giving myself. And so it's much more vague, but I think that I am on track in that regard, because I've been trying to challenge myself to produce videos a little bit better quality than I have in the past. I've been looking for different types of videos to do, like the photo walks and like some of the traveling stuff. I have a few ideas of some other concepts that I want to try out on the channel. And then also there's the live stream. I did the live stream test. That I thought was pretty satisfactory. I had people jump in and interact with me. And so I want to do a more official first live stream on the channel. And so some of those things are things that I feel like is growing the channel from the perspective of what I'm actually creating for the channel. But it's also nice if the channel grows in terms of viewers, and we have hit 1,000 subscribers, which was not the case at that time. So I think we're at like over 1,200 now, which is really awesome. I don't really have goals or metrics in terms of subscriber count. Like, I don't really care if this channel is ever widely viewed or not. I have a lot of fun, and it's very much a creative outlet for me to create these videos, and it challenges me and it makes me feel rewarding when I make a video. And especially it's awesome to be able to interact with you all and not only share my inspiration, my creativity, my knowledge with all of you, but to receive that back. A lot of you have really insightful thoughts and opinions, and just our interactions are great, and I really enjoy that. So to me, that's enough. I don't need to make money doing this channel. I don't need to have hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers. That actually seems really scary to me. I kind of don't want that. But to cultivate this small community is really, I think, where the sweet spot is. And so, yeah, it's nice to have more folks join us. And so I think from both of those standpoints, from the growth of the subscribers and the amount of content and effort that I'm putting into that content, I think we're on good track in terms of the progress there of growing the channel, whatever that means. So I'm happy up to this point, and I hope that I'll be able to continue to put some of my ideas up here into video form for all of you. But that is my goals and my progress on those goals for the year up to this point. This kind of my 6-month-ish check-in for where I'm at on all of that. Hopefully that's inspiring to you all to take a step back. You're getting my permission, even though you don't need it, to stop what you're doing, take a step back, and really reflect for a few minutes on where you're at with your own goals and your own projects. And if you're comfortable and you want to share that, drop that in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys are working on, where you're at, and equally to be motivated by all of you by seeing that. So yeah, feel comfortable, share it in the comments below. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, do give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this and join me on this photographic journey, hit the subscribe button. That'll keep you in the know for when the next video drops. But for now, I'm Colton. I'll see you in the next one.